Well, guess who we have with us? Sean Oskerka, third ward alderman. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
No, we
We,
appreciate you coming on and be willing to talk to your constituents, I guess,
us and our
and
neighbors.
fellow neighbors.
I'm always happy to talk to anyone about what's going on in Des Plaines and what the direction is we're headed in.
So fantastic. Well, congratulations on reelection.
Thank you.
And we thought we would just kind of jump on here in a little bit of a chat to see what plans you have and talk a little bit about Des Plaines and the third ward. So I just kind of want to start with one question because I'm not sure I have the answer to it. Can you define what the borders are for the third ward so people know where they are?
Yeah, so the third ward is an interesting shape, actually. It's kind of in the middle of the city. We kind of touch almost every ward at one spot or another. So one of the bigger roads on our far end is going to be Mount Prospect Road, covers a little bit of that. Like Candy Cane Land is over there, which is really nice in the far corner of the ward over there. And then we head back over the train tracks past Prairie Lakes. We hit up Wolf Road and we follow the train tracks actually up Wolf Road. So we go right up to right in front of Cisco there, down North Avenue, right in the upper back corner back there, right by the there's a like a railroad building back in that far corner, which is nice. And then we're right into the right to the other side of the tracks there. We're right over there by the journal and the old Journal and Topics building is the far corner of the ward over there, which leads us back up Lee Street as we travel back around all the way back down until we get to Forest actually, and then we lead up Forest. And for a while it used to be Forest there, but then we hit back up Wolf Road. We jud back out all the way up to Oakton. So the corner is that 7-Eleven right there,
Oh,
like kitty corner to where the high school is and that stuff. So it kind of stretches left and right and north and south, kind of decently far. It covers a bunch of industrial area on the other side of the train tracks between Candy Cane Land and Oakton over there. And then we have just a huge amount of residential that includes the villas, like I said, Candy Cane Land, up by where I live off of Prairie. It's, so we're good with a lot of residential and minimal industrial, actually. So we have a good mix of a lot of good turnout usually for stuff.
fantastic. Thank you. That helps.
Well, you've been our alderman for 4 years now. What are you most proud of from your first term that you were able to accomplish?
Well, 4 years ago when I ran, it was about trying to connect people with the government, right? Like, how do we best connect people with the services that they need? And shortly after being elected, and I think this is why I was definitely a big fan of like Andrew, the mayor, after he got elected too, we kind of had the same goal of trying to make it more transparent and connect more people with city services. So I think one of the bigger things that I'm proud of is how we challenge the city staff to connect better with people. Like, Denise Rod did a good job before me in her term, but the aldermen with her and others had their own individual email lists, and we challenged the city to standardize that process. So now the email that I send out comes from a standard system that the city has adopted for all of the aldermen to use, so that we're all using the same platform, and then they hold all the lists for us. Things like the food truck roundups that we've started to do are great. Moving the permit process actually online from an only paper thing, for as simple as that sentence sounds, has been the most monumental task the city has taken on in a number of years to try and make getting like a 24-hour garage, like a roof permit or a driveway permit or something simple and easy where you don't have to actually interact with city staff, which is kind of nice. You can print it out right from your home. And so I think connecting basic services that people need every day was one of the bigger, better things that we accomplished. And then I think one of the great things that I'm proud of too is the activities that we've started to do as a city over the last couple of years. We've done more and more, like we've expanded the Taste of Des Plaines, the food truck roundup, talking about trying to bring back a program like we used to have, like the Friday Night Lights, like we're trying to get more community groups together and more have more fun than we've ever had in the past, I think.
So that
Very
being
good,
said,
very
I
good.
agree with you. It was a great, first round
Term.
of your term. But what goals do you have for, the second 4 years?
Well, I think one of these things is the community cleanup, right? Like how how does the ward look in improving some of our vacant, empty properties that we have around the ward that have kind of been the same for a number of years? Like, I love that Wolfie's is right there on Wolf Road right there, but that lot, the gravel lot next to it, right? Like, it's kind of an eyesore when you're coming in and out of town or right by the school there. So I'd love to see us, for as simple as it sounds, I'd love to see us just put some grass there, right? Dump a bunch of dirt and put some grass there and just turn it into like a green space that's not a huge eyesore. There's a property over at First and Prairie and Rose that used to be a gas station a number of years ago that is next to a property that's for sale that I'd love to see the same thing happen, right? Like it's next to the train tracks, but it's kitty corner to Potawatomi Park there. It's again just another giant eyesore that can just use some dirt and some grass to kind of beautify the area to make it look a little bit better, right? And then I'd like to see us keep developing activities that we have. Like I'd love to start to discuss with neighbors that live around Potawatomi Park the possibility of developing that park in conjunction with the park district. And then I think just trying to get out more than I did in the prior 4 years of connecting with people even more. I'd love to double my email list if I possibly could for the people that we're connecting to. Try and host a couple more ward meetings than I have in the past, and just try and get people excited about all the fun things that we're doing.
Very good, very good. You've been a big proponent of Des Plaines. What do you like most about living in Des Plaines?
I like the diversity that we have. I like how we have a little bit of everything in town. And then honestly, I think this might be slightly selfish based upon where I live, but downtown is such a short walking distance from where I live that I have access to so many things, including the train, the library, a couple great restaurants that we have downtown. Central Park, the Central School Park is right there. I think one of my favorite memories of when my kids were really little was always walking downtown, and we would go and just cruise around, or going even over to Prairie Lakes where we could walk over to the Mountain View Adventure Center. I think my kids and I mini golfed like a dozen times one summer because it's such a great central location to what's going on, especially in our ward. We cross a couple streets and we're over there and we're down and we're playing a couple rounds of golf and then walking back home. It's I think one of the favorite things that I love is how much you can really walk or bicycle around and hit the places that you're looking to hit. You don't have to necessarily drive everywhere.
Very good.
Now, of course, we're real estate agents and showing, buyers properties in, multiple different communities. But for our buyers that are focusing on Des Plaines, what would be a piece of advice that you would suggest we give buyers if they're considering living in Des Plaines?
I would drive through and look at the town at different times of the day to make sure that you're buying the right place that's good for you in the right area. Because as we all know, you can't really get in and out of Des Plaines without hitting a couple train tracks. So that can be very deceiving. If you actually manage to make all the trains through, you're like, oh, this is great. But then you can catch all of the trains on your way back out. And then, of course, that doubles up. I grew up in an area where there were always planes above my head. So, like with us being so close to O'Hare, which is a really nice function, but certain parts of town are certainly louder than others. So, I would encourage people to drive around, look at the parks and look at the amenities that the parks offer, and look to see what's within walking distance, right? Like, I think my wife and I enjoyed buying our house because it had a big backyard that we knew the kids could play in. And if we got tired, there's a park a quarter mile from my house, right? Like, it's all within such a short walking distance. And the school is less than a mile away. So it was kind of more of convenience of everything like that. So I would tell people, look at the amenities beyond your house to make sure they're good for you and what you're looking for.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I think people are surprised. They don't realize how many parks there are in this place.
There really are. And when
There's a
you
lot
talk to
compared to a lot of communities.
yeah, when you talk to the park district about it, one of the things that they take pride in is the parks, how the parks look. And then for a while too, they were doing a couple of those little pocket parks that they put in the middle of streets that didn't have a park, but you couldn't really put in a huge park. And I think that's huge because every time I drive down the one on, I think it's on Second Avenue right there, there's always somebody playing in it or somebody riding by it. It's like it was a great use of that space for somewhere that didn't have a park around it at all, actually.
Yep, yep. Is there anything that's going on in the city or that the city has planned or someone's planning to try to do that the citizens of Des Plaines should keep an eye on or possibly be concerned about?
I think one of the biggest things that we should be excited about right now is the downtown development and the future development of the Oakton corridor. The city recently, in the last year, has made some big moves, honestly, in purchasing some properties downtown in our downtown area, including the Leela Arts Performing Building. We just finished purchasing the old White Huntington Bank building, which we're leasing out to the group that owns the Fox Hill on the Lake to open up a huge, nice restaurant down there. Olivetti's is going to get a whole new building and facelift coming up from the group that owns Harp and Fiddle. So I think in downtown, we heard what people were saying that we needed more restaurants and we needed to take control of this situation. So we heard that and we did that, right? So I think that that was huge and that's something to get excited about. Some of that big change that's coming down the hot pot barbecue that just opened up in the Welkin building. That's been a huge draw. I was just there over the weekend and they had people standing waiting for tables. Like it was huge. Like I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I think one of the big things that I'm excited about is the transformation of what could be the Oakton corridor with the TIF district that's there. We've purchased a couple rundown properties in that area of town, leveled those, and we're going to market those for sale in the TIF district to try and bring in new developments and new businesses and new retail and new restaurants. And I think, especially with the talk of like, what about the old Kmart building, right? Like, how many times has that come up in the conversation? Well, a couple of years ago, we had a study done with the RTA, done through a grant on what the Oakton corridor could look like and how to transform it. And I think that presentation is going to be coming up soon this year as well. And that's going to be phenomenal to see some simple changes that we can make to improve both sides of town and create a huge second area for commerce and change and give it a facelift and make some of it look a little better than it already does and bring a whole new group down there for not only retail and restaurants, but also families and houses and things like that, right? Like we can expand that entire area. And I think we're finally in a good place financially where we weren't 15 years ago to where I like to say we can finally invest in ourselves. You know, we're putting more money into infrastructure, more money into change, and we're finally able to keep up with ourselves and take it to that next level for that vision we've always wanted.
Love it. Love all the plans. Joe, I think I'm going to let you take the last question as we wrap everything up.
About the concerns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is there anything that you're concerned about that's going on in Des Plaines or anything coming down the pike or something that you're trying to do that you're like, okay, citizens, we need to keep an eye on this or watch out for that or this is coming along?
I think one of the biggest concerns I have and is the projects that we're approving and the projects that are coming towards us have to be feasible and obtainable. We have lots of ideas and we have lots of excitement and we have lots of groups approaching us because they want to do business with us or they want to do business in Des Plaines. But I think we have to be concerned about putting the right developments in the right spots, which is important. And then it's time that we again invest in ourselves and choose the right developers to actually make these projects true. We no longer have to settle for whatever comes our way as we're like, oh, somebody's excited about us. We don't have to settle anymore. And I'm real excited about that. We can like tell people, no, we're not interested, or we don't think this is right, or this isn't going to work, right? Like, I think that's an important first step to actually understand the direction we're headed. So, but with the current state of the market and the current situations we have going on at the federal level, I definitely have concern to projects that we approve always look good on paper, but can they become a reality based upon things like tariffs, supply and demand, and then the financial stability of somebody getting true funding for some of these projects? So I'm concerned that we're going to approve some stuff and that possibly might not happen, or it could sit for a couple years until interest rates drop or tariffs maybe go away or get lower so that we can build what we're trying to do. So we have the opportunity to do it, but I feel like sometimes we're caught at the wrong time, possibly too, at a bad crossroad right now. But I think we'll come out strong on the other end with some good projects and some good places and be able to keep moving the town in the direction we all want to go.
Well, this has
Good.
been an amazing conversation. I appreciate the time that you took. Well, Joe and I both do appreciate the time that you took to chat with us. Joe, anything else that you want to add?
Oh, just Sean, anything else other than thanks again? Anything else you'd like to add or tell our neighbors before
Well,
we sign off?
because they're our neighbors, I'm going to give a plug for the turkey trot, of course, because it's already April and we're coming up around the corner, right? Like it's time
We
to start
are.
talking about Thanksgiving in the fall and coming out to the turkey trot at Beacon Tap and come hang
Yeah.
out with us that day. It's a good time. It grows and gets bigger and bigger every year. We pack that food truck, for the pantry more and more. So, ideally, let's keep it growing. So I'll take this chance to tell people, come on out, have some fun with us that day and enjoy some time away from family before your day gets hectic.
Yeah, I
If,
appreciate it. And it's been
thanks a
a
lot.
pleasure to work and building that event up. So it's been fun to see how it's grown.
Oh, for
If
sure.
anybody
Yeah.
has, if anybody has any questions or comments for you or concerns, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I would reach out to me through my city email, or you can give me a call on my city cell phone. But probably the email is best because then I can keep track of stuff a little bit better and then forward stuff out to the appropriate branches that I need to in order to get responses of what we're looking for.
What's
Fantastic.
your city email address? What is
It's
that?
it's S Oskerka, Oskerka, at displaynsil.gov.
All
And
right.
they could find that as well on the Displays website.
Correct. Yes. If you go and you search Displays Government, and then it'll bring a drop-down menu to my stuff specifically, and then all of my contact information is listed there as well, including an opportunity to sign up for my email list for any news coming out of the city for that too.
Oh,
Fantastic.
perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh,
All
thanks,
righty.
Sean. We'll see
Thanks,
you around the
Sean.
neighborhood.
Thank you. See you guys later.